Welcome back everyone to Let's Play Aurora 4X in the Star Trek role-playing framework, episode number 6. There's been some good comments, as always. I'm very happy with the comments on my channel in general, but these Aurora ones have been no exception. Some very good things have been pointed out to me. First of all, I have entirely neglected having my my fleet headquarters staffed. This is under staff officers. We can see that fleet headquarters can allow us to get a bonus down to our survey ships even. And we don't really have I was looking at this a little bit off camera. We don't have fantastic candidates for this because we need it to be R3 or higher. So that would be captain or higher. We can see that we only have basically 2 eligible individuals who are not already targeted who have any kind of survey bonus. We have, oh, nope, this is a commander. So captain, and that's it. So we only have one person available for the fleet headquarters. So I will assign Matthew Pickering to be our new fleet headquarter commander. There it is. So fleet HQ is set up, and that should populate itself. Task force, is this it? Yeah. Matthew Pickering is now providing logistics 30%, survey 10%. Technically what you normally want to do for this is choose the individual with the highest crew training rating. And I did not do that. I'm expecting that there'll be a better candidate when we actually start task force training. And that'll probably happen not for another at least 15 years. So we'll just want him because he's going to provide a small survey bonus. And I think that he fills up his staff officers as well, and I actually have never paid attention to this. Those might also add some survey bonus if I'm not mistaken. But nonetheless, even just having our task force commander, he's providing his 2.5% survey bonus to the Tortuga Power. So their survey bonus has now gone up by, a whopping 2.5%. But hey, if you're surveying so many different planets, every little bit counts. And actually, I want to go back to that. Sir Beardian pointed out to me that I also don't have any governance over my people, my new colony which has been established. And this is, another good point. I usually use this, okay, I think that population growth is the best thing to put here. So I'll be searching for that, and we see that there's a couple individuals who are eligible. I also want to put a governor on Comasola for mining purposes, but I also I like to use these governor positions as a bit of a training ground because if you're assigned, you just, as we've seen with the scientist, you're more likely to improve your skills. So if I go, well, okay, first let's choose our person for the moon, which is much more important, so we want to choose the best rating. Now we only have 3 people, and they all have 5% available for population growth. The only other one that we're going to need, because there's not going to be factories and not going to be anything else there, is maybe wealth generation. Because the moon eventually will generate a large amount of wealth. But until that, right now population growth is more important. You can kind of think of this the same way in distant worlds you set colony taxes to 0%. You increase your tax base first, and then you can increase your taxes. So if there was one with both wealth and population growth, that would be ideal, but we don't have that because I've already looked. So we're just going to go with Jessica Watkins because she has the most other characteristics. And again, this is what we want to do is start training up our good leaders. So she only has 5% population growth, but hey, every little bit counts. And she will become our new governor of the moon. This is a very female-dominated civilian administrator pool. But let's see, for Comasola, we have mining we want. Now, there's a lot of different people who could do mining. You can see actually the 2 best ones we already have chosen. But that makes sense. Because Comasola, this one doesn't really matter. This is just a training ground I use it for. So let's just pick the next best mining bonus is with Dylan Kirk and Nicholas Cross. Nicholas Cross only has a mining bonus, although he is A6, so he's pretty high. Dylan Kirk has much better statistics overall. And he's A4, which is still pretty high. I'm going to choose Dylan Kirk, and the reason why is because eventually we won't need him as governor of Comasola. But with these kind of statistics, we might be able to kind of increase his governing capability, give him a little on-the-job experience before we transfer him over to something like Mars. So we'll assign him there for now. Very good. So now we have all our administrators set up. Let's again take a look at where things are with automated mines. Because I want to set up a new colony on Mars, let's not delay. Let's, especially with all the excitement in the news right now, SpaceX has just launched its first rocket on an already launched rocket body. Or, the first stage, I think, is what they reused. So there's kind of a little bit of rocket buzz news in the world right now, in the real world. So that also kind of reminds me of all the very cool stuff which is going on Mars. So let's get ourselves over to Mars. And to do that, I'm going to take away my automated mine production for the moment and instead focus on infrastructure again. So we'll get another 200, I think is sufficient, which will put another million people on Mars. It'll probably be, again, just 9 rounds, so 900,000, and then we'll let the infrastructure grow from there. So we'll do that at 10%, it's perfect, and that jumps right into the queue. You can see that this is still going to be done in basically 4 months, so that's not too bad considering that we're just putting it at 10%. so very good, that's everything. This is going to drain our stockpile a little bit more, but it looks like our research is just about to finish. So speaking of which, is there anything else I need to do? I guess not. Let's just push forward. Let me just double check. I did this. Yeah, we're looking good there. This is good. Okay, and at some point we're going to be able to get sector command. Wait. Did we already do sector command? Probably wasn't paying attention. No, I don't see sector command here. Should be something I'm researching then, right? Ah, there it is. It was hidden. Oh yeah, so Scott Connor still has, oh my goodness, another 3 years and change before we can get sector command. That's basically the fleet headquarters equivalent for the civilian administrators. And that'll be very helpful to have as well. But we do have plenty of time left on that, so where is Tortuga Power? He's out on the very outskirts of the system, still doing some exploration. Like I said, when he's this far away, we can do 5-day chunks, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Because we don't want to spend forever just getting to our warp drive. So, oh right, so two technologies have finished researching. Let's get Alan to do something else. I think I'm just going to stick him back on. Everything is. I'm not going to do fuel production quite yet, although we do need refineries soon. Actually, you know what? Let's just do 1 round of that. But then after that, I'll probably jump back up to research rate because everything else is pretty expensive, and I don't need fighter production rate for a long time. I'm actually going to intentionally avoid sorium harvesting and asteroid mining module. The reason for this is because I don't want the civilians to go and take my sorium, which they will do with the sorium harvesters. So it's such a critical resource that I'd rather be the only one mining it. So in order to do that, I need to get the sorium harvesters only when I'm at a good point to develop my own sorium harvesters myself. And basically, we're not quite there yet. Okay, the other thing which was finished was, just pop up a little bit, David Collins. We'll probably just do the next thing of Gauss. And okay, move on. Okay, so Anthony Smith, I'm pretty sure he's the one in charge of the Tortuga Power. I probably should have renamed Anthony Smith to be Tortuga Power. This is how I plan to do it. It's going to be really simple. We'll just do this real fast. We'll go to our naval officers. He's a lieutenant commander? I'm pretty sure that in charge of... I guess it's not a military ship, right? Yeah, the Tortuga Power, who's in charge of this? Captain Cameron Harrison. Nope, that's the Sonia. Nope. Oh, I'm in the wrong tier. There it is. So Isabella Wright is currently in charge. We could manipulate her statistics a little bit, but I can't change her sex. I don't think. So I could Space Master probably change her sex, but I can just be a female. That's just fine. It doesn't have any gameplay effect at all, so it doesn't matter. But if you know what? I'm not going to change her name to Tortuga Bauer because it might be a little confusing with the ship name. So good job, Isabella Wright, Captain Wright, I should say. Well, actually, Admiral Wright. Even though she's captain of a ship, she has admiral status. That's just fine. So we'll move on. Inactive lab. Let's get Brandon Allen, since he is the most important with these various construction techs still. We're going to give him all the labs until 30. We'll see what happens from there. Lots of tech is happening fast and furious. Norman needs sensor and fire control. We'll probably just do active grav sensors. Eventually there's a lot of things we have to do in here, especially because the Enterprise at the end of this century is going to need a lot of fire control. But our first jump ship, the Phoenix, does not need to have any of those things. All we need is, jump capability. That's all I promised on it. And I think, true to its, the analogy, the Star Trek analogy, I do not believe the Phoenix had any weapons on it. Again, it's the same kind of idea that we don't send, in real life, probes to Mars or out into the solar system with defenses on them. So we're still too naive to expect alien life to be out there at all. And we will eventually be proven wrong, but for now, let's just continue living that dream. All right, a civilian mining colony has been established in Neuschmann. Very interesting. Well, this is what the civilian economy likes to do. It likes to target. Let's see what Neuschmann has. Probably duranium or... There it is. So it has duranium and thorium. Now, I do not mind this particular situation. It's going to be very costly, but those are two things that I need. And since it's a comet and not like a planet with a ton, I'm actually just going to go ahead and buy the output of this. Now, normally you don't like to do this because this ends up being prohibitively expensive the more mines the civilians add to their colonies. And actually, sometimes if you don't buy it, the sad thing is it goes away. So I'm going to choose to purchase the mineral output from this colony. It costs 250 per mining chunk. They have one mining chunk on there. This is not actually one mine. It's actually equivalent of 10 mines. And they have a mass driver on there as well. Okay. So it's on there, but it's just abstracted, I see. So we don't need to actually choose the driver destination or anything. We just acquire the wealth immediately because we're purchasing their output. So I guess it's just they do all the transportation themselves. But we will be acquiring more, duranium and thorium, probably the two most important resources in the game. And we'll be letting the civilian economy do it for us. So they only have one. Every time that keeps ticking up, they're going to increase their costs by this times 250. So this can get very expensive, but at least at first, it's not a big deal. We'll see how much it ends up costing us. Right now, the thing which is the lion's share of our expenditure is research, and that's going to keep going up because, we're building more research labs. So I guess we will have to do financial centers. This is my one grievance with financial centers, that you can't move them. And I know that they're supposed to be abstracted to be like Wall Street and like a whole thing, but in my opinion, if you can move these construction factories, which are capable of building defense PDCs, planetary defense. I don't know what the C stands for. Planetary defense something. I knew what it stood for. I just have blanked in the moment. But anyways, they can build PDCs. They can build all these different things. They can build research labs. They can build financial centers. So if they are capable of building financial centers, and they are capable of being transported, how is it that financial centers are not capable of being transported? I don't really understand that. So I've always just done something. I've always space mastered my financial colonies, my financial centers to a different area. When I wanted to quote unquote move them, I just space master it. And I'll probably still do this in the game unless I get like vehement protests. But I'll what I normally even do. I mean, okay, I don't normally do this to be honest, but I have done it in my very hardcore roleplay series, and I would do it in this one. Is I'll even send a freighter just to make blank trips with nothing on it, back and forth from Earth to whatever new place the financial center should go. But it just annoys me that you can't move financial centers because it's the only thing you can't move. The only thing maybe besides, I don't think you can move. I don't know if you can move deep space tracking stations. Usually don't build enough for that to matter. Oh, military academies. I don't think you can move military academies either. But in my opinion, if you can move industrial plants, that's, it seems like a very substantial undertaking. You can move mines. You can move anything. Labs, science labs, which are like supposedly huge because you have to move them. They're just like one of them is only a standard cargo bay only fits 1/20th of a lab. Yet still, you can't move financial centers, which I'm just imagining as people. Like they should be in my opinion, it should be the easiest thing to move. But rant off. Like let's stop talking about that. I do need to do financial centers if I'm going to continue with this massive drain. Or I have to sacrifice resources by letting the civilians take the minerals. But that's basically the same as letting them get deleted from the game. Because the minerals absorb them, but they don't do anything with them. It's just the minerals just get absorbed into nothing. They get deleted. And the money goes to you. But I would much rather have the minerals than the money. So we'll try to make that work. We might have to build some financial centers. Hopefully Luna gets its act together and starts building a lot of trade goods and I get a lot of money. I don't know if that'll happen, but hopefully it happens at least before we run out of money. Okay, very good. Let's continue pushing. Because I don't think this is going to change anything. No, yeah, we'll just start. Well, I mean, the good news is we do get a nice supply of both thorium and uranium from that mining colony. The bad news is we're paying for it. There is no free lunch. We'll continue our expansions here. I think I want one up to at least 60,000. I was wrong about this in the last episode. The mod rate increases with the size, and the mod rate actually tells you how quickly it is to continue to increase its size, and surprisingly, it also tells you how quickly it'll retool. I find that very surprising that the larger factories are able to retool faster. It seems very counterintuitive to me. But Sir Beardian mentioned you can kind of abstract this as the larger your size, the more advanced your equipment maybe as well. So that was his take. I'm willing to buy into it because we need to have some kind of justification. All right, so we'll add another 10,000 to this and be on our merry way. Okay, so Davison Interstellar Shipping. This is kind of the reason why I wanted to choose the United States themes, because they will do corporations based on the United States themes, which is nice. They have 2,000. Some people were suggesting maybe I should give them an injection up to 5,000 to get them going. But now here's the big question: who do we give an injection to? Because we have two. We should be fair. I mean, to subsidize. But I would call that a bailout. That's what I was role-playing back in my comments with Frederick. Another thing I wanted to say, that the role-playing is obviously going to be a key element in this series. What I'd recommend you do, and maybe I'll have some kind of summary of the comments at the very beginning of every episode instead of just briefly mentioning that there were good comments. You might even read the previous comments in a separate window as I start playing the game. Just so you can get caught up on the most recent. I'll try to keep. I think I'm going to be doing 2 days between videos in general. That's been kind of an exception this week because I've been really excited to record, and I don't have anything else on my plate until. I have plenty on my plate starting this weekend. But actually, I have plenty on my plate this week, but I'm not. It's not stuff I'm recording. So in order to populate the channel, I'm doing this every 2 days. But Rule of the Waves is going to start this weekend, so that's going to change things very quickly. I'll probably be doing an episode every 2 days. Anyway, you might consider reading the previous video's comments. And for the commenters, try to stay relatively recent with the comments. Like, don't post on something if I have a new video. I mean, if you're 2 videos behind or something. But if we get into this role-playing framework and people like Frederick leave their really entertaining role-played comments and I respond role-playing all this, it might be interesting for you to see those comments when you know, so you know what I'm talking about when I say we're not going to subsidize. That would be a bailout, because that was all role played in the comments. Okay, but let's just keep going on. We'll see what this ends up, you know, what ends up happening with that. All right, so yeah, this is done at 60,000. That's right. I wasn't going to do this one up any further, but I won't now, and I'm going to continue to do this one. So yeah, we'll just set activity. We'll get that one up to 100,000, I think. It's not too bad. Okay, so now we have a civilian mining colony on Huya. And I'm going to, so probably I should just take the time now to go through all the different, by the way, it was pointed out to me, Guardsman Gary, I think, who showed me that you can get quickly all the survey information here, which is very cool. But let's quickly go and grab the colonies we're going to want to grab ourselves, so I don't have to worry about, okay, so Huya has been taken over. It has 0.9 in duranium. This is already a little bit worse of a situation, because you pay per time period, not per amount. So the lower the accessibility, the less you get, because the civilians also adhere to the accessibility rating. Although Tritanium and Benderite are at 1, so I will definitely purchase Huya again. But, I mean, I'll definitely, yeah, I'll have both of these. Let's see if there's anything else interesting I should keep, especially Cromulin. So I'm going to just put a colony on here so that the civilians don't, because that's 0.8. I don't want to pay for that, but that's still a sizable amount of duranium. Let's see. Okay, well, Venus they won't do because this is too low of accessibility, but I might as well just create colonies on these anyway. This one is Sorium, which they will do since it's high amount of Sorium and it's 0.8 or higher. That is, as far as I know, the conditions that the civilian economy looks for are these. Is it 15,000 or higher of either Sorium or Duranium? And if that's true, is the accessibility 0.8 or higher? So if those both conditions are met for either of those resources, they put a colony on it, a civilian mining colony. Given the fact that there's enough wealth in the system anyway, but there's some other hidden conditions. But let's see. I might as well just put colonies on all of them though, because I don't think I want them mining any other ones. I can't afford it, frankly. Unfortunately, this is going to have the downside of not stopping them increasing their colonies on the two that they have already established. In fact, the only way we could get rid of it just by, we can physically close the colony if we wanted. I don't know why I'm tutorializing so much. That's not supposed to be the point. But we can physically remove the colony just by abandoning it. I won't do that though, because it's a little cheap. And then you can just establish a colony on it to take it again. Actually, do I want to do that for this one? I'll pay. It's unfortunate. We're going to pay probably the same amount whether they have one on Nourishment or two, one on Nourishment and one on Huya. Because if the civilian economy doesn't have a new place they can add a mine, they'll usually just increase the number of mines they have on an existing place, which can get like really darn expensive. So it doesn't really help you by prohibiting them from doing it. But let me also go to Sorium real fast because that's the other one I mentioned. And okay, so Noiseman's already being mined. If at any point we don't want them to keep mining, like maybe when it gets down to like 0.8 accessibility, I won't consider it. I'll just like consider abandoning the economy and then establishing my own colony. I'll consider that the state saying civilians, you're no longer welcome there. And because this is, we're capable of doing that. And I really don't want a mining colony on Mercury. So I want to get that colonized. 0.7, but I'm going to leave the ones that are... Yeah, I'm going to leave Halley's Comet because I don't think that'll be taken. And it'll be an interesting experiment to see if they do take it at 0.7. And Uranus, I don't think I have to worry about. We'll create a colony. Oh, no, yeah, that's a gas giant anyways, of course. So you have to do Sorium extraction from there, Sorium harvesting. All right, so let's see what goes on next. So Davison Interstellar, the new startup, is moving much faster than this somewhat slow-going pool freight line. Sometimes clear orders helps things go better, but I don't know why they're not doing anything. So they obviously, you can see that they had the same startup wealth as Davison, And they didn't invest in the colony ship themselves. So I don't know why they're doing that, but that's okay. We can, I don't know, clear their orders? Oh, yeah, they don't have a ship, so we can't clear their orders, of course. But it'll be cool. Now Davison should start ferrying colonists to the moon themselves. I don't have to do it anymore. Which means I can focus on, we should be just about done with our infrastructure. Yep. We're basically done with our infrastructure. I can probably put this to, well, I don't know when the next tick is supposed to happen. So I guess I'll just eat it. I'm sure 5% is more than enough. Okay, wow, it's 2%. Okay, we'll just put it to 2%, so we'll give 8% to the labs for one more tick. What did I want to do, though? Oh, yeah, I want to load up my freighter, the Sonia. It's time for us to start putting some infrastructure on Mars. And it looks like we're in a good point to do that. Our freighters are not terribly quick, so this is actually going to be a little bit slow going. We want to load infrastructure here and unload it on Mars. And you can see all these new things are here because these are all colonies I've established. Now we're going to establish a colony on Mars. Okay, there. Now Mars is a colony. Oh dear. Oh dear, it's 2 colonies. I've done something terrible. Okay, let's see if we can undo this. Let's just abandon because there's nothing there. I think there's nothing there. Yeah, let's abandon. Okay, now we only have 1 colony on Mars. Let's abandon that too. And just let the colony be established. Okay, let's do it this way. Create colony on Mars. I should only create 1. Good. Now go to Sonia. And let's just remove all, just in case there's any kind of bugs. We're at Earth, I think, already. Refueled, we're good. Okay, so remove that order. Load infrastructure. Load infrastructure and unload it on Mars. You can do either all installations or infrastructure, doesn't matter. And now I'm just going to put cycle moves. It'll eventually tell me when they can't add anymore, and that'll be the point in time which I just want it to stay at Earth anyway. So this, instead of forcing it to refuel after counting out the exact number of times, this way you can just have him or her, since I guess we'll call ships the feminine, this freighter will move back and forth, and then when it comes back to Earth and can't load any infrastructure, it'll already be at Earth, and the only thing we'll have to do for our next mission is make sure it refuels first. So that said, we should now see, oh, I have civilian names up. I will leave that on for a little bit, but eventually we're going to put no civilian because there gets to be so many that it's a little overwhelming. But it'll be cool to see what the Davidson is doing right now. I mean, we're sure already what it's going to do. It's going to transfer people to the moon. But it'll be fun to see that. So we'll leave that ship visible. All right, let's go by 1-day ticks just to see. Yep, there's the Sonia. Wow. Actually, that was fantastic. It made it there and back in a 5-day tick, which is good. So that's actually much faster than I thought it would be. Okay, now infrastructure is completed, so we can move to automated maintenance again. That's great. But only if we take this down to 40 and bump you up. There it is. Now we got LG, but that's still not what we want. We're still waiting for a defense. Still have not gotten a defense one. It's very frustrating. Oh well, it'll be a nice challenge. Once we get one, we'll have to throw like 1,000,000 labs on her or him. All right, 1-day ticks again. I think that was kind of fun to see our freighters going back and forth. Okay, actually I want to stop because now that we have any kind of infrastructure on Mars, oh, the moon's almost up to 1,000,000 now. So now that Mars has some infrastructure, we can support over 100,000 people. So I'm just going to start ferrying people back and forth with my Osiris now. So load colonists. Why do you have a maintenance clock? Did I do something wrong? None of these vessels should have maintenance clocks. They're commercial. They should never gain time. What am I seeing there? That's confusing. Should not be a maintenance clock. Is it just 0.01? Okay, I see. I thought it says 0, but I guess it says 0.01 and it freezes there. Okay, my mistake. Still 5 months on the Tortuga power, so they're going good out there. So Cyrus, yeah, you can continue doing this mission that I was going to set for you, which is load colonists and then unload them on Mars. This I will specifically ask for only 9 total trips because, again, we'll be putting 200 infrastructure, which Mars has the same colony cost as the moon. I didn't show that, but I think most people know it, anybody who's played the game. So we have 0 colony cost on Earth because it's perfectly habitable. The moon is a 2, and also Mars is a 2. So it's the same thing. It's going to be 200 infrastructure required per million population, and it'll be the same. That's the same it was on the moon. So we're going to put 200 infrastructure down. You can see this is already up to 201 thanks to the efforts of the civilian economy. I mean, they're not producing it very quickly, but it'll get there eventually. We might even help them out a little bit more, but let's put the 900,000 people on Mars, and we can let both of these planets start to grow. Okay, so that said, let's do 1 day ticks, and now we can see our ships crossing back and forth. Oh, Davison is actually moving people to Mars, not to the moon now. I think the Sonia is slightly faster. 873. Yeah, 4 kilometers per second faster. All right, now we have a very interesting thing happening. Unrest is rising on Mars because of overcrowding. That essentially means that we have too much population on there. So I need to stop the Osiris from doing her missions. Wow. So I guess the other colony ship has been doing only Mars. So we can't erase all these. We don't want to strand some colonists. So I'm going to do the unload on Mars, and then I'm going to do Earth, refuel. And that'll be the last the Osiris does for probably quite a long time. I probably won't need to increase the populations by hand. The civilian economy is now going to take care of that. If they want to do that, that's perfectly fine. So Mars is actually only at 0.4. Oh, I guess it's because my freighter's going a bit slow. So we can support 0.35, and we have 0.4. And that is surely the fault of the Osiris, who's dumping extra people on. So we're going to start losing some people. Seems like a heartless thing, but can't be avoided. I guess what I could do, let's be roleplay-ish. Have the Osiris just actually store your citizens, give them a pleasure tour. Why don't we literally give them a tour? Move to an extended orbit around the moon. Just give those sleeping cryogenic modules a fine tour. Because they're cryogenic, I don't think it actually matters. So yeah, the roleplay, it breaks the mechanics of the game if we consider it that way. So I'm just going to have them move to Earth, sure, even refuel. And yeah, they didn't use much fuel. But just stay there for a while until we can get some more freighter transport done for Mars. Actually, what I could do is enlist the civilian aid, but I don't think that the civilians have built any transport ships yet. Okay, so Pool Freight Lines got a colony ship as well. Darn it. Well, that's a little unfortunate. They're all doing human colonies. Okay, great. That's actually terrible. We need we need freighters. All right, well, Sonia will just do the rest for now, and we'll leave 100,000 people. They're in sleep. They're sleeping anyway, so it doesn't really matter if they just are left to sleep for, instead of being 5 days of sleep, it's going to be possibly months. But they won't know any better. I mean, at least they don't know any better right now, and it doesn't hurt them. They just might be a little upset that things are different than they expected when they wake up. All right, so Osiris has completed her orders. We knew that that would happen. Keep going. So this is going to be a continual oscillation. As the civilians drop off people, Mars will be unhappy, and then as our freighter supplies enough infrastructure, the unrest will go away. So it's just going to yo-yo back and forth. All right, so now Alan is now maxed out. Dr. Alan, with as much science as we can give him. And that's going to complete October 2042. Pretty good. Then what does he have next? Oh yeah, fuel production, because yes, we will eventually need some refineries. Yeah, we're doing okay. Back and forth they go. So now the Sonia is the only one moving. Okay, so as soon as the Sonia moves enough, there it is. Okay, so is that all the infrastructure we're going to make? Yes, we've already had infrastructure done for a while. Let's just go to Sonia and just have her refuel real fast so that she's ready for whatever mission is next. Okay, that's going to be good. Yeah, she was down to 72%, so she did a fair amount of lifting. And now we're going to expect the civilians to start producing. So this is at 1 million. Slight negative annual growth because I guess they're probably 1.001 or something like that. Slightly over the million that they can support. How's the moon doing? Well, I don't know how much has been dropped off here, but very high population growth rate. Still only 201 infrastructure. Well, infrastructure should have a high demand, so as these colonies increase, I mean, let's try to help them. The bigger that they get, first of all, the more money they make for us, which is important. And second of all, the more they're going to be able to produce their own stuff. So I might even go back and, once again, get some more infrastructure. Let's put another 100 per. So we'll just do another 10% of infrastructure, throw another 100 of infrastructure so we can get up to 1.5 million per colony. We won't even have to transport those people. The civilians will do it for us, the private economy. So we just need to make a little bit of infrastructure. And hey, I mean, it's fine for us to make a little bit of this. Let's just make a lot of it, actually. I'm thinking more and more. Let's go up to 2 million per. Which isn't even a lot. I mean, I would say that a normal amount, if you want to be really fair, is probably 1,000 per, so they can, put 5 million people each. It's not even that much. So, okay. Okay, completed orders, and now we wait. Okay, they both finished adding stuff. I'm going to leave the CivDoc02 there. But that'll save us a little bit of money and a little bit of resources. Just do one of them. As you can see this early on, although we only have one freighter, everyone knows the names of the Sonia and the Osiris, and they probably know the name of the Davison Company, even if they don't know the name of the colony ship. But these names are probably household names. Everyone knows the Sonia and her work transporting infrastructure back and forth. It's like knowing the names of the probes on Mars. So I think it's... Oh, Madeline finishers. That's good. We get... What next? Oh yeah, so we'll do Stellarator fusion and then 0.5 fuel consumption and then ion and we should be good. Okay, I guess 1996 TL66 had some kind of useful stuff on it, and the civilians have decided to grab it. What do you have on you? Ah! This is one of those situations that I don't want to buy it, but I will because I'm pretty sure that 1996 TL66 is really far out there, and I do not want to put a mining that's outside of Neptune. So this is completely the outer solar system. I definitely do not want to get there myself, so I'm absolutely going to buy it from the civilians. I kind of would have preferred for them to wait, but I can afford it. Once the accessibility of the minerals drops down to like 0.8 or something, I might just start burning those resources for money, letting the civilians take it, but again, that just goes into a black hole. But yeah, for now, we'll continue to pay the cost. I actually don't, I have to make sure, yeah, so 1960, wow, they put 3 on right away, my goodness. All right, I forgot to do purchasing this one, so that's been a huge mistake. How much did we lose on Huya already? Well, probably not too much. Yeah, it says 785 years to depletion. But this does have tritanium and, okay, vendorite is such a low amount we don't need to worry about it, but yeah, I'm glad that we got there. It's only been 1 mine. That's 10 mines, so it's not too much. We haven't lost too much. But I'm glad that we fixed this before I neglected it any longer. Okay, good. How are we doing on cost? So purchasing civilian minerals right now doesn't cost very much at all. Still, you can see just pennies on the dollar compared to research. And tax on civilian mining, well, it wasn't going to make any more for us anyways, but the big thing is we don't have any trade being generated or anything. So yeah, we really do got to get the colonies of Mars and the Moon to have much higher populations. Okay. Tick. Construction factory completed on Earth. That's actually really big. So we finally got up to the point where we're done. With all the extra stuff going on, our stockpiles are increasing in every category, so that's great. I am going to greatly increase our research and then slightly... Oh, okay, let me do it this way, actually. Let me go to 70. No. Let me go to 70 on research and 20 on infrastructure. That November probably means that, let's see, we have a production rate of 35. Okay, this is about 300. This is about 3,600, which means about 10 a day, which means we can get about 50. No, that doesn't, my math is not adding up correctly here. 50 per 5-day cycle? I don't think it's adding up. It's not quite. It's nearly adding up. I must be doing something slightly wrong. But I think, what I'm trying to say is I think we can start sending our freighter out because we have a small pool already there. 239, yeah, we have 239. So let's just start sending our freighter out to put, we need to make 20 trips to the Moon and then 20 trips to Mars. I'm actually going to start on Mars because since it's further away, it'll buy us a little bit more time for us to continue our construction. Our industry can keep producing infrastructure in the time it takes for him to go back and forth from Mars. So just to buy us a little more time to get more out. Otherwise, we'd probably, if we did the Moon, we'd waste all the ones we had immediately. And we're just kind of saving a little bit of time by doing it this way, I think. It makes sense if you know what I'm talking about, I swear. Unload infrastructure, and we're going to do that. Okay, again, 9 times. No, we need to do it 19 times. Infrastructure load is 10, and it's 200 per. Yeah, so do this 19 times, and then move back to Earth and refuel. And we're going to have to give him a different order after that, the Moon. And I want to repeat that without, having to do it manually. So we'll wait for him to finish these orders first. Very good. Off you go, Sonia. And... oh, another commander is dead. They do die pretty quickly. Alright, Alan has started fuel production, which we don't have any... You know what? We don't have any fuel production, so I'm going to cancel that. Doesn't make sense to do it if we don't have any. Let's just move on to research rate. So create that, and as your next assignment, maybe you can do fuel rate. We'll probably need, eventually we're going to need it. So, okay. Go to production, propulsion, power and propulsion. Okay, so Doc 1, I guess we can keep going all the way to 100,000. I just want to see if I missed anything interesting. Officer. No, nothing exciting that I can see. Okay, so let's keep going then. Infrastructure is done. Very good. That means we can actually get this going at 10%. And then the military academy, and then we can get... Oh, this goes at 20%, sorry. Well, I'd rather automated mines go at 20%. And then we need mass drivers. I'll probably just get 4 mass drivers to start. Yeah, we'll just create them at 20%. It'll fill whatever we need it to. Can probably drop this down to 20% as well, because I don't know what it'll fill. Oh, no, and go up. There we go. Yeah, it'll drop in. It looks like 10% is what we're going to need first. So we'll do the military academy at 10%, I guess. It'll get done eventually. And I do want to get this better scientist still. I'm still waiting for a defense. Nope, yeah, we still don't have one. Okay, and pushing forward. Okay, David Collins finished Gauss stuff. We might even, whoops, put him on to more Gauss stuff. We're going to want Gauss. We're going to want missiles, though. Yeah, that's a lot to give him. Well, let's focus on at least getting decent Gauss cannons. Because if we do build any kind of ships, if we wanted to put CWIS on it, it might be interesting to do... I mean, Gauss technology affects CWIS. CWIS is not usually important to do. Yeah, okay, good. Because it only affects the ship it's on. It doesn't defend other ships. So normally you use Gauss cannons themselves. But if you have like a single ship off on its own, I think it's more effective to use CWIS because you don't have to put on your own fire control. It acts as fire control and everything. Okay. We expect these research labs to be coming fast and furious now. To the point where, now that we have 10 on power and propulsion, no, I think power and propulsion is going to be the most important one, so I will not add any labs to anyone else until Dr. Jordan's up to probably 15, maybe even 20. Okay, this is also expensive. Oh, you can see our money is now decreasing a little bit more rapidly. That's also, I mean, that's not just because of the civilian mining, it's also because of the research we're doing. Managed shipyards. So, you know what? I'm just going to leave these where they are. It costs money to expand. It's not very much, but, you know, we don't need to. We're doing fine. What we could do is start building financial centers. Like I was mentioning this already, that this is a possibility to do, and I will just space master move them. I was actually kind of hoping to get onto Mars, put a few, like move a few of our factories, like 50 or so, and then just get Mars constantly producing financial centers. But you know what? I am going to stick with my original thing. I think I am just going to space master the financial centers over when and just have a freighter fake carry them, move back and forth until, I don't know, I'll count them as the same size as maybe factories, industrial centers, or construction factories, yeah. And then I'll just do as many trips as I would need to do to transfer all the factory or financial centers I want to do. So I'm actually going to get these, and we'll probably need to put these in front. We already have a few fuel refineries. They are not obviously producing very much, but they're probably producing more than we're using right now. So anyways, let me move the financial centers up. They will be the next in line after the fuel centers are done, and the fuel centers should be done quickly. We can actually speed that up even better not. Yeah, okay, let's do it this way. Just checking I don't have any unused. Good. Okay. Okay, and no, I don't care about BG. Look at Max Nixon, power and propulsion, 25%. Is he? Nope. Dr. Jordan is still better, but this was inactive, so we just put it right here. Yeah, we'll go up to 15 with Dr. Jordan, and then we'll start getting 2 for everyone else. May not sound like much, but it's still double. Okay, the Sonia has completed her orders. That means that we should have 400 industry or infrastructure on Mars. And we do. We have 402 because the civilian economy is starting to kick in. You notice that we didn't have to do anything. Population's almost already maxed out. That's probably because the civilians and population growth is actually pretty darn good. So let's have the same kind of situation on the moon. Let's give them another injection. How many are we sitting on with Earth? Oh yeah, infrastructure is done, so we have the full 200. Good, so we'll just do exactly what we did before, which is force Sonia to do this until it can't do it anymore. Load, unload, cycle. Yeah, you know what, we know exactly how many it's going to be. Let's just do it. And then refuel. And that'll be it. Okay, we'll go 5-day ticks. That'll happen probably almost immediately because it's very close by. There it is, it's already done. How are they keeping up with me, the civilians on this? No, 1.23, so they aren't keeping up, but I'm sure that this, you just go a 5-day tick. Did it not update? Are they really only at 1.23? No, they're at 1.44. So I guess we have to do refresh all. Is that going to work? Let's find out. It did not. See, I don't know, it's kind of confusing. Refresh all should update. Oh, 1.44. It literally is 1.44. All right, Patrick Fitzgerald, Dr. Fitzgerald finishes research on visible light laser. Okay, good. We'll probably get just the next one with him, which is near ultraviolet laser. Get to work. And that's probably going to wrap this episode up. We'll wait for the next pause. There it is. And we'll call this video to a close here. So we actually did a lot in this one. We actually moved more than a year's worth of time. Hopefully this kind of faster and faster speed up. By the way, that means that the Tortuga power probably needs to come back. I'll check on that off camera. But yeah, hopefully we'll be able to move faster and faster. Limited, of course, by how long a tick takes to go on my computer. But before I forget, the inactive lab. Give it to Dr. Jordan again. So everything should be increasing, like the exponential growth. We really were going very narrow in the beginning, but now we're going to start to broaden out because we don't have any more, we can't go any more narrow than all our research labs to Dr. Allen. So from here, we are going to start getting different technologies. But the next, I mean, honestly, the next point of interest for me in terms of shipbuilding is not going to be until we get jump technology and the ability to research, to scan the jump points, which I have ticked off. But once we get that stuff, then we will have to build another ship, one which scans for jump holes or jump gates. And at that point, we'll need to have all of our propulsion and all that technology up to spec. But even then, that ship, the system surveyor, not the geological surveyor, but the system surveyor, the space surveyor, who's going to like look at these anomalies in space and find our jump gates, they don't need any weapons. So we don't need to do a massive weapon spread out until probably another 10 years. Anyways, I could go prattle on about this forever. Let's just turn this one over, get this one out. And in the next episode, what can we expect? Maybe we can get some more colonies. I don't know, actually. I'll have to think about what we should do off camera. But until then, thanks for watching and take care.